You've talked about the power of the American people to try to stop this train wreck. What specifically would you recommend we do?
Two things I would do, and it seems awfully basic, but like the rest of America, there are no shortcuts. One, you need to speak out, both to your elected representative and your two U.S. senators, who, by the way, share views very close to mine on this bill. But first, you need to speak out. Don't assume anything. So speak out to your local representatives. Secondly, in another great tradition in America, reach out to friends and family and co-workers in other congressional districts, and then tell them to speak out, to email their member of Congress, to go to a town hall meeting, to phone their office. I think the only way the American public is heard in this whole debate is if we speak out, reach out, and we don't stop till we're heard. Because in America, the way our system works, those who believe the most and those who believe the longest win. That's what America's about. Great.
Congressman Brady, wanted to thank you for exposing yourself to a group like this and taking the risk. I wanted to share a couple of things from my own personal experience.
Yes,
I lived in Europe for 4 years in a country with socialized health care. And then I have spent extensive time in other countries in Europe where I didn't have residency, but spent many, many months there over time. I've lost 3 close friends who died at the hands of government-provided health care because it was rationed. And if they had lived in America, they'd be alive today, and they'd still be people that I could interact with. So that's a small selection of people that I was exposed to, that I know of, that died because of the lack of health care that the government provided. One had a heart attack. A doctor friend of his took him to the hospital. He was stabilized, but they had used up their budget of health care for the type of operation he needed to bypass, which is not that sophisticated. He lay in a hospital bed for 3 weeks in a hospital in Aberdeen, Scotland, and then passed away. And that's not an uncommon occurrence. I have many friends in Scotland, in Norway, in Britain, in Germany, and in France, and they all suffer from the healthcare system that's in place there. My question is, with the TARP, with the stimulus, with the current deficit that we're running this year, which I think is projected to be somewhere between $1.5 and $2 trillion, the government has gone crazy on money. I mean, we're now printing money to cover the interest on the money that we borrowed previously. It can't be about economics. None of the TARP didn't make sense. The stimulus package doesn't make sense. The budget for 2009 does not make sense. Adding a very low number of 1.5 or 1.4 trillion over 10 years to a runaway debt. So it's not about financial sanity. It's not about health care, improving health care, but about control. What is the real motive? You're closer to Washington than we are. It makes no sense at our place in this.
Thanks. I'm sorry to hear about your family, but thanks for sharing that with us. And the answer is at the heart of this whole debate. This, in my view, isn't about reforming healthcare in America. It is about moving to a single-payer, national, government-run system. And don't take my word for it. I was watching a video the other day, and Barney Frank, chairman of the Financial Services, he said what everyone is thinking. He said, give me a public option or give me a co-op. Either way, I'll make it into a single-payer system. So that's what this, when you look at it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense if you talk coverage and affordability and more responsibility, more choices. It doesn't make sense in any of those areas, but it does when you realize where they want to go. So that's why we've drawn a line in the sand on the public option, because no matter how small that baby is born, we know what it will grow into, and that's wrong for America, in my view. So, Francine, why don't we go, woman in the back, she had her hands way up.